Hey, guys. Alcides Pelzer here, your voice manager, coming to you with yet another episode of the Speak Easy podcast, where we talk about the behind the scenes of what it means to be a successfully paid speaker and author. That part. And I know you're probably looking at today's title and going, is this really a speakeasy topic? It really is. When we talk about building relationships, and we never know what trauma someone has gone through. And so the skills and tips and resources that you'll get in today's episode will definitely help you. And even with everything that's going on right at this moment, currently we have a lot going on with the coronavirus. And I'm going to, dive in a little bit with today's guest about how this actually can be very traumatic for some people in, watching the news, especially with watching the media, that can kind of go all its own. But without saying too much more about today's topic, guys, we want to know, make sure you let us know how the topics are resonating with you. bit.ly/Speak Easy Podcast Show, all lowercase. We want to hear your review so that way we can shout you out on the next show. That is what we will be doing starting this month. Excited about it. But without all that, let's go into today's topic. So, let's be honest. Everybody all over the world now knows about the coronavirus. If you don't, you've been under some type of rock, and that's okay, I guess. But for the rest of us, it's kind of this big wave that's crashing into everything. The economy, large events being canceled. There have been some deaths due to it, and we're kind of like at this teeter-totter of, do we really give it our energy, or do we just, look at it as it's just another, it's another virus, it's another sickness. But I want to take a different approach to it, and that's why I'm excited about today's guest. Because when we think about people who are watching the news and listening to this, there's something that can trigger in them to a past trauma in dealing with something along this magnitude. So learning how to engage with people and kind of talk to people right now is something that I really think is going to be a hot button topic. Not just now, but in weeks and months and possibly even years to come. So with that being said, I want to say hello, Donna.
Hi there. Thank you for introducing me.
I'm super excited to have you on today. Let them know a little bit about yourself, and then we'll dive into today's topic.
Okay, great. So my name's Donna Marie. I'm a therapeutic and higher consciousness coach and mentor for conscious people. So I tend to work with a lot of single people or people who are in relationships, and I basically help them to really heal their past traumas and their current traumas, what they're going through right now, and to basically move forward after a traumatic event and rebuild their life and regain mastery over their health and their well-being, so they can actually be happy and not have to live in this past hurt all the time. So that's a bit of a short brief from what I do and how I help people. And it really much comes down to really how to cope with your thoughts and your fears and your feelings around what you've currently been through in the past and what you're currently going through right now, and how you're managing them, or if you haven't managed them, and really bringing everything up to surface so we can look in and reconnect. So that's pretty much what I do, connecting the heart to the mind as well.
Definitely. And I feel like this is a topic that is a right now topic, because we don't know what kind of trauma people are going through or have been through. and what this is really doing. And so I've heard people say, oh, people are just being so over dramatic. And that's kind of what we hear a lot of times when it comes to trauma. Oh, you're being over dramatic. Oh, it happened so long ago. You should be over it by now. These are the blanketed statements that people throw out there when it comes to women who have been through abuse, when it comes to domestic violence. And so in that first thought, what would you say is before we speak, what should be the first thought in our head during this time?
To know that however big or small you might find what you're going through right now, however big or small it might seem, it could still be trauma. It doesn't have to be a big thing that we're going through for it to actually be trauma. It can be as small as you falling over in the street, bumping into someone. Really, it's about being present with your trauma or whatever you're going through right now, and being able to focus on what's going on right now, because if you've been through trauma or if you're going through it, what we can't do is change our past, but what we can do is very much change the way we manage our current reality and how we can move forward with it. So with what's going on with this coronavirus and everything around this topic and this subject, it's very much around reaching out to people, connection, talking. And if you struggle to talk, then, it's very much around, even if it just means reaching out to people and explain them that you're struggling to talk to someone about it, but, seek help and advice. And it will come, or ask for that advice to come to you, and it will. If you're feeling lost and alone, know that you are not alone. There are many, many people that are going through this as well. And, if you can just take one little action that will help you to move forward, and not having that judgment of yourself around the way you're feeling as well, allowing yourself to be angry, to be upset, allowing yourself to experience all of these emotions, and know that you're not alone, and that you can move forward from where you're at in life. Hopefully that makes sense.
It definitely did. And, we see that there's a lot of people who are going through things because they're being quarantined, because, you're stuck in the house, even if it's a self-quarantine. We even heard of, a parent who, one of the parents was on self-quarantine and the other parent took their child to a daddy-daughter dance. Like, wait, no, that's not how this works. But we have to remember that relationships are important. And so I'm sure for that little girl, she was going to this daddy-daughter dance. And her daddy was not going to tell her no, coronavirus or not. It's looking at the core of people. We still want interaction.
Yeah, it's hard to not live from fear, but we have to continue to, really come back to being strong, that we can get through whatever we can get through, and not living from that sort of fear mindset, and knowing that, to reach out to others if you need them, not being afraid to ask, and not having this judgment of that it's weak to ask for help or to ask for support. I think that's a lot of the reasons why people don't reach out. They feel guilty as such, or that they can't deal with it on their own, and it's like a sign of weakness. But it's very much a sign of strength, asking for support and help, and continuing with the things that you would normally do, regardless of what's going on as well, is really key.
Yes, keeping up with routine, I think, is very important. There's some things that you can't do. I would not suggest anybody else who's quarantined to leave, but there are some things that you most definitely can do. And we have to understand that we're still people. Again, people, we're still people. You're still human. There's this idea and this, especially when it comes to relationships, there's this idea that there's the perfect person, there's the perfect relationship. And so a lot of times we hold on to that trauma and we don't really forgive ourselves because we think we were supposed to be perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, we hold on to our trauma. Almost, we use trauma as a form of currency, and we hold on to it because there's this vulnerability of not knowing what we would be like without it, and that sense of loss where trauma can leave us and then we don't know who we are as well. So very much that can be a vulnerable and scary place to be. And then, like you say, having that, we hold on to it because we feel like we should go through that for whatever reason we've made up in our head, or for what we've been through as a child, or what we've currently been through. We get wired a certain way, so we believe that we should go through these things, and it's a lot of it's unconscious behavior. It's, we're not even aware that we feel this way. So yeah, it's about replacing that with knowing it's okay to be angry about it, and allowing yourself to act, but to not keep holding on to it. And that's one of the biggest things that I think a lot of people struggle in letting it go. Like, where would they be without it? Which is a sad thing, but once people do let it go, then they find they're very much free within themselves, and they really sort of just start to discover more about who they truly are, which is the ultimate place we would love to get to. And it's not always easy. It's not always an easy process.
Definitely. And now I do want to ask this question. With us having so much access to people, do you find that as a bonus, or has it become almost like our Achilles heel? With us, with social media, we can connect with people halfway around the world, and in some instances we may be seeing conversations, but when it comes to those who have gone through trauma, what do you see it doing in their lives?
Having too many people around, you mean? Or
Just, I guess, the access to the different things that are going on online, the access to people through social media. Just, there may not even be in your space, meaning in your room, but when you go to your phone, there may be 3,000 contacts there, and social media, on Instagram you may have another 2,000 contacts, and it can become overwhelming sometimes.
yeah, it can. I think we have to get the balance right. I think we have to know when enough's enough, when we have to unplug to plug in with ourselves. So we literally unplug to plug in with ourselves, and knowing where there's a balance and where there's a line between, okay, this is too much. There's too much externalization from media that can often be very traumatic in itself. You constantly hear bad news, or things on the media that are, a lot of it's false advertising and it's scaremongering, and it just drives more fear into us a lot of the time. So I think for me, and what I teach my clients to do, is very much about coming back to self. What's your body telling you? What do you need to hear? What should you be doing right now for you? And really getting people to look in, not look out, and knowing when enough is enough, when we've had that balance. Because it's great to have that form of communication, all those people, but again, numbers of people doesn't necessarily define us and who we are. And I very much am a firm believer of less is more. Even in our sort of friendship groups, you'd rather have 3 people that are really close friends rather than thousands of people that you've never really deeply connected with and had deep conversations with. Does that make sense? Like, you really are choosing the people that are going to support you, the the right communication that is in alignment with what's going to help you, and knowing when enough is enough and when you are doing too much. We're very much mobile orientated and social media orientated these days, and it is great in some ways, but it's just knowing when to plug out as well and take time for self as well.
Oh, definitely. I found that I absolutely love the unplug to plug in. As an introvert, that is me all the time. I love do not disturb on my phone. I have on certain social media sites, they have like you can set it to where it lets you know if you spent a certain amount of time on a social media site. I love that. Most people don't utilize it or even know that it's there. Um, but I know that for me, one of the things that happened, and it's being talked about a lot more, is coach hurt.
Yeah.
And interestingly enough, it's only being talked about at the surface level. It's not being talked about at a deeper, level, because a lot of time when there's coach hurt, the coach hurt comes from us dealing with some past trauma or us dealing with something and you know, not acknowledging it till the last minute or not truly understanding it. And so we have a whole um, culture of people who are going through coach hurt, and they're thinking, oh, it's because I feel as though I got scammed, which it can be,
Yeah.
but that's because we're talking about it at the surface level. And so have you seen that because that's a very personal and intimate relationship. People don't feel like they don't realize it. But live streaming and social media has brought us closer to people, so we can connect with a coach that's not even in the same state, and it's a deep relationship.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a deep relationship, and from my experience, I have to be very, very mindful of my health and my well-being when I'm working with my clients as well, and making sure that we're not taking on secondary trauma, because we very much do take on that secondary trauma of other people. We have to be mindful that we are not taking layers and layers and layers of everyone else's hurt as well, and having that like real boundary, because we can say we're coaching people through, but energetically and emotionally and mentally, it doesn't mean that this doesn't go into our subconscious, and we're still it's ticking over in our brain after the session, or a couple of nights, and we really absorb that information that person's told us, and it can play on our mind. It can very much play on our emotions itself without us sometimes realizing it. And it's being just mindful that we're not carrying more of that and layers of that from other people, because we cannot show up for ourselves or other people if we're taking on these layers of everyone else's, and we can get very, like I say, we have that secondary trauma from other people as well. And it's knowing when to take rest and take time for ourselves, as professionals, and also as a human being. That self-care is absolutely number one, in this world and in this industry as well. So hopefully that's answered your question.
Definitely. And so I always ask everyone that comes on to the show, what has been a blunder for you? So in this journey of working with those who have trauma, and you're helping them to rebuild their relationships in either your own personal journey or with working with this demographic, have you seen any moments where you look back now and you're like, that was not the best choice, especially early on in deciding that this was the path that you were going to go down?
I think Well, I've changed my sort of niche a few times. I used to really help people with chronic pain. And as much as I really, really wanted to help these people, I found that I was taking a lot of that burden on myself when I wasn't able to necessarily fix them or necessarily like help them as much as I thought I could help them. And I had to change the way I was working because I was getting so attached to their success and their results that I had to take a step back and realize actually I need to change the way I'm working, and I need to change where I'm and sort of the benefits that I'm providing and the support that I'm giving. I got quite unwell with it when I first started because I wanted to fix everyone. I wanted to help everyone. But I burnt out and I overwhelmed, and that was a huge turning point for me, realizing that, as giving as I can be, and as much knowledge as I have, I cannot fix everyone. It's not actually my position to fix people. It's up to them to fix themselves with the tools that I teach them. So I did get myself into a bit of a it's not some great experiences. My energy was very depleted, and like I say, I took on everyone else's issues, and I ended up feeling really stuck because I couldn't help these people as much as I thought I could. So yeah, I think for me it was I needed to go through that to be able to learn where I wanted to help people and how I wanted to progress. I never see it as a failure. I always see these lessons as growth. So I do always try and turn it around and see it as something positive and experimental. But for me, that was definitely important in my line of work.
And I see that happening a lot.
Yeah.
But it's not really, I can tell you, I see it happening a lot. And it even made me talk about it previously, was that people are coming, they left the idea of counseling and came over to coaching.
Yeah.
And so people are showing up with trauma, therapist level, things that they need to be discussing and that they, need to be talking about, but they came into a life coaching class.
Yeah.
They came into a business coaching class, and we, at times we tend to meld with people who are, they're kind of emulating something we feel we're missing.
Yeah.
And so I've seen a lot of that and had a lot of coaches who have said, wow, people are coming to me and they're talking to me about all these different things, and they're coming to me and I'm not sure I'm the one to help them. And it takes us into another realm of those in the coaching industry when we see someone who is at that point where we know, okay, no, you need counseling. There's something outside of this that you need. First of all, having the respect for that person to be able to tell them, but also having the right words, because you've built a relationship with this person, having the right words to say, okay, there's something more that's needed.
Yeah. I agree. It's interesting because I'm a coach, but because I do actually sort of mentor people through some healing aspects of what they need. It's more about, I'm not healing them necessarily. I teach them a process and tools so they can heal themselves. But it very much does go in, still within they have to put the actions and the process in. I cannot do it for them. And that was a turning point for me, that I come from this healing background and this therapist background of fixing people and actually making people feel better. But it's, for me, that was almost like disempowering people in a way because they just wanted to be fixed. So coming from switching it over and having that knowledge and that education and that background has really helped me to notice like the warning signs and the triggers that people have, but then teaching them the tools that I have used to heal myself in a way that I'm still coaching them. Does that make sense? But I'm still that's handed over to them, so they are in for a full responsibility.
Putting them in the driver's seat.
Yeah, absolutely, because they'll get better results. They'll very much actually move forward quicker when they're more empowered like that. But it's also knowing that, you know, whatever, if they do need some form of deeper therapy, then, you know, it's noticing them and knowing when they should be transferred over, or, you know, a different professional could help them. You know, we can't do everything, and I have a lot of different experience and modalities and tools that I can teach people, but it's very much, again, I cannot very much, you know, sort everyone out. So it's knowing when to hand it over. And for a coach, being able to say, you know, I think my work is done here, this is what I think you should do next, and just having the courage and the confidence to say that when you've built up that relationship, if that makes the biggest world of difference to the people that we work with, because you're just providing them with the best service they can possibly have for their journey.
And that's why we do what we do, is to provide them with the best service.
Absolutely.
We never want to, you know, be a disservice to them. We don't want people to leave us worse than what they came.
No.
We want them to leave better. It's not to say they'll be 100%, but we at least want you to learn something, to grow in some way. Absolutely. And to leave better than what it was that you came.
I agree.
Oh my goodness. I absolutely love this session, and I love this topic because I've seen so many people who that trauma piece, they think, oh, if I take this one course, it'll be done, or if I do this one program, and it's not that, it's a process. And so that's why, you know, situations like the coronavirus can be a trigger for some people. You know, you never know, but it's a continuous process. And so what would be your final word for the studio audience and the listening audience, for them who they themselves may be going through trauma right now when it comes to the relationships around them, or they know someone?
I would say really act upon it, don't delay, because when I delayed and I didn't ask for help, it just got worse. So I would very much take action upon, if you know someone's going through it, or if you're experiencing it yourself, accepting that you are not 100% and that you are needing support and help. And it does actually mean that, you know, you have to ask, and it's not to be taken lightly, it's to be taken seriously. And when we say we're done, we're never really truly done. There's so many layers. It's such a process, like you say, and there has to be a start from somewhere. And the more you delay, the more you will actually be holding on to this trauma. So, you know that you are worthy and deserving of it, and there is going to be the right person out there for you. Just acknowledge that you need that help, support, and, you know, you will make changes when you finally accept that you do need that support and help. And it's having that non-judgment of self, and releasing what you're currently holding on to. Is this, you know, what will it work? Or these questions that might be going through your head, like, what if it doesn't work? What if I fail at this? Or what if the right person can't help me? Or and you feel like you're going to go backwards. Just listen to what you truly need to listen to from within. Be present as much as you can. Get into your heart, out of your head, into your heart, and really just take that change now. Definitely.
I love it. I love it. And Donna, let them know how they can reach out to you for more information, and where they can find you online.
Yeah, so I'm on Facebook, I'm Donna Marie, or you can catch me on my website, www.donnamarieselfmastery.com. You can speak to me on there, or email me at donna@donnamarieselfmastery.com. But mainly I'm on Facebook, Donna Marie, therapeutic and higher consciousness coach. You can send me a message and I'll connect with you there.
Great. So guys, this is this is a topic that I know a lot of others are not really discussing because there's so many other things when it comes to the coronavirus, what they're, putting out into the media, what they're talking about. But I definitely know it's one that, you know, it can help. It can support, it can encourage. So we ask that you share this out, because even if this particular topic was not one that resonated with you, it may help another person, that part. And then also let us know if it did resonate with you, or maybe it didn't. bit.ly/, Speakeasy Podcast Show, all lowercase. We would love for you to give us a review over on Apple Podcasts, or connect with us on Podchaser. We would love to talk to you there. So with that being said, I am your host of the Speakeasy Podcast, where we go behind the scenes talking about what it means to be the successfully paid speaker or author. Until next time, guys, don't forget to press it out. See ya.